All right, let's do this. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite mask collector's favorite mask collector, AJ Good, here at the House of Masks, where we unbox and review cool stuff almost every single day. And in today's video, we are finally going to be talking about the new Slipknot masks. I am home from California and from Vegas. My work with the videos that I shot on those trips is done, and I am ready to finally talk about the new masks. Boy, oh boy, Slipknot are doing the damn thing, am I right?
Oh, hell yeah!
Slipknot are on another level right now, and I truly did not expect to be this into it. I didn't expect to be this convinced, this quickly, about this new era of Slipknot, but I've gotta say, they are pulling out the stops, and I am very, what's the word? Invested. I'm very invested in this new age, new era of Slipknot. So, when it comes to me and this era, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of layers here. Not only was I fortunate enough to get to go out to California and attend that pop-up show, but I actually ended up making the last-minute decision to go to Vegas and attend Sick New World, and I got to see a lot of cool shit there as well. And on top of just getting to go out there and experience that stuff, I actually had a little teeny tiny bit of involvement with one of the masks that we're about to talk about. So, I'll explain further here in just a second, but yes, I am very invested in this new era, and I've got to say that I'm pretty happy with everything so far. So in today's video, I am going to be rating each member's mask individually. I'm going to be going member by member, talking a little bit about what I think about the new mask, and then giving it a score somewhere between 1 and 10. Maybe 0 if I really dislike it. Or maybe I'll just give Sid a 0 because he is 0. Anyways, I'm pretty sure most of the scores on this list are going to be pretty high, and I don't know if that's because I've just grown soft in my old age, or if that's because Slipknot really is just doing it right. Maybe I've matured and I finally get it. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that most of the scores on this list are going to be positive. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and hop on into it. I've got my list right here on my phone, and I think that we are going to actually start with Sid. And the only reason that I'm starting with Sid is because I have a personal bias for this mask. I got to be somewhat heavily involved in the creation of this mask. Now, after the Grammys, where Sid wore a carbon fiber BCD, he ended up calling me and he was like, "Yo, dude, I want to do a solid gold version of this mask." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah. What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Dude, I've never even heard of a solid gold mask." And keep in mind, when he said solid gold, he meant real gold. He wanted the real deal. And I was like, "I don't really know, man, but let me make some calls and we'll figure this out." And by the end of the night, we were on the phone with an artist that took care of it. And about a month later, and after many conference calls and a lot of little homemade science experiments, we had a real gold mask for Sid, and I think that it turned out absolutely beautiful. So, shout out to Joshua Everett, who really was the madman behind that whole thing. You guys should go check him out. I will drop his information down below. He was super awesome to work with, and Sid is very happy with the mask. I got to see it up close and in person backstage at Sick New World, and it is absolutely beautiful.
I hate AJ Good.
And remember, a while back when I was kind of guessing what was going on with Slipknot and this pop-up show and the new masks and the new members, I gave you guys an Easter egg, and I said that some of these new masks were going to be pure gold, and this is what I meant, a pure gold BCD for Sid Wilson. So, obviously, I'm ranking this one a 10. I absolutely love it. Even if I had no involvement whatsoever, I think that it is just about the most Sid thing that Sid could have done. It looks fantastic. It's an obvious nod to the 1999 mask, and he did it perfectly, and it looks beautiful, and I absolutely love it. So, we gotta get Sid out of the way. I'm biased, but I'm pretty sure that the reception that I've seen for it so far has been fantastic. I don't think I've seen one negative comment about it, which is pretty cool. So, Sid Wilson, 10 out of 10. Moving on, next up, we have the one that everybody wants to talk about, Cory MF Taylor. Now, this one, I don't really know how to properly score yet, because I have seen photos of this that look absolutely incredible, and I mean absolutely incredible. I mean, come on now, what are we talking about? That's fucking amazing. but I don't feel like I've seen enough of the mask under enough different lighting situations and stage situations and editing situations to fairly judge it. There's a lot going on with this mask, and I really want to see more and get a better feel for the mask before I give it an ultimate score. So right now, I'm going to put this at a strong 7.5 to an 8. I can tell that Cory is feeling himself in this mask, and it's brought out the self-titled and Iowa mannerisms, which I absolutely love, but I just don't think that I've seen enough of it yet to properly and fairly score it. Now, keep in mind, we have a very limited amount of images and videos of these masks. We've only seen a few promo images of the band in the new masks, and they've only played 2 live shows in these masks. That means there's not a whole lot of photos or footage of these masks floating around yet, and a lot of the photos and footage that we got are amateur iPhone clips. So, in order to properly judge this, I'm going to wait it out, and I'm going to leave this at a very positive score right now and just say 7.5 to 8. I do hope to circle back to this and talk a little bit more about these masks in the future after we've seen more of them. This video is just kind of like a first thoughts or first reaction after the big reveal, and I'd rather wait to give this a more permanent score a little later on after I'm more familiar with the mask. But for right now, I think it's pretty positive, 7.5 to an 8 for Cory.
That's all I got to say about that.
Moving on to another member whose masks I'm very excited about on this return, we have the Clown.
The clown!
Now, I think Clown absolutely nailed these masks, and I think my friends that made these masks for Clown absolutely nailed these masks. And I'll be honest, if I wasn't so involved in the Sid mask, this guy would probably be my favorite of the new masks. This is absolutely incredible. Now, this is an obvious nod to the original self-titled West German clown mask, and we have seen him wear 2 different versions so far. We've seen a promo version that is painted like a West German clown, and it also features a zipper in the mouth. And we've seen this used for promo photos and backstage photos, but we've not seen this one live yet. The one that we've seen live is a much more plain white and red version with no zipper in the mouth. And I've got to say, out of the 2, I very much prefer the West G painted one with the zipper in the mouth. I think that zipper in the mouth just absolutely completes this look. I think that this is the best mask that he's had since the 2009 All Hope Is Gone female clown. I think that this thing is one of Sean's top masks ever. I mean, look at this. What are we talking about right now? That is absolutely flawless. I don't dislike the live one. I don't dislike the white and red one that he's wearing for the live shots, but the one that he's wearing in the promos is just so perfect to me that I almost can't even think about the red and white one that he wears live. I would definitely love to see the zipper version worn live, and I have a feeling that we're going to see quite a few different paint variations over the course of this tour cycle, and I'm very, very excited for that. But this one, again, I've got to give it a strong 10. That's on both versions that we've seen so far, but definitely the West G with the zipper. That thing is just, oh my god, it's so good. I can't wait to have one. It's so fucking good. Next up, let's talk about our old pal Jim. Now, I have never been one to be crazy for the chinless, mouthless Jim masks that expose the beard. That's no secret. I'm not a huge fan of that style of the masks, and I really, really miss the OG jesters, but at this point, I can't imagine Jim really wearing anything else. It really does just fit who Jim is on stage at this point. And I've got to say that out of all the chinless masks that he's done, this is probably the only one that I do truly like. I really do truly like this version. I like the paint job that's on it. I like the sculpt with the older style jester eye things going on. He doesn't have the little swoosh like he's had. These ones are bright and vibrant. They're actually UV reactant, which is very, very cool. And they're painted up in the Harley Davidson colors, which very, very much fits Jim. I honestly really don't have too much to say about this Jim mask. It's kind of what we've come to expect from Jim at this point. He's pretty much adapted the whole moniker of if it's not broke, don't fix it. He kind of fits in with Mick and what Craig was doing with his masks over the last few years. He just found the style that he likes, and that's kind of what he's rolling with. And he's kind of always done that, to be honest. Through Self-Titled in Iowa, it was always a converted jester. They were slightly different, but they were pretty much always the same thing. And then through Volume 3 and All Hope Is Gone, it was the same. It was the same sculpt. It was almost the same finish. He had slightly different finishes on those masks. and ever since we've come into the bearded and chinless era, he has pretty much stuck with the same thing with slight tweaks here and there. But out of all of the mouthless masks of Jim, I've got to say that this one is definitely my favorite. I really like the sculpt, I really like the paint, and I really like that I'm finally cool with like what Jim is on stage now with the whole beardless thing. It took me a long time to be okay with that look, and now that I finally am, I really, really like it. So this mask is going to get an 8.5. I'm going to give this mask an 8.5. I still really wish that we were seeing zippers on Jim's mask. He did do one of these bearded, chinless masks that had a top zipper, and I thought that that shit looked really cool, but I could understand why he's not sticking them in there anymore. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to just have the top half of a zipper, but I really like the zipper mask specifically on Jim Root. I feel like out of all the zippered masks in Slipknot's history, Jim's Jesters always looked the coolest, and a big reason was because of the zippers. I feel like out of all the zipper masks in Slipknot, Jim's zipper masks were the coolest. So out of Chris's, out of Craig's, out of Jay's, I think that Jim's Jesters were just absolutely iconic and almost perfect, and I think that a big reason is because of the zippers. If this thing had a zipper in it, I'd be giving it an 11. Next up, we've got Foff, and we have 2 masks to talk about on this list. So we're going to talk about the Zipper Eye and Dread version first, because this is the first one that premiered, and this is the one that he's using live mostly. And you know what? I really, really do like the mask itself. A lot of you guys can probably see where this is going. I do like the mask. It is an obvious evolution of the last white mask that he had. It did not have zippers in the eyes, but I feel like adding zippers to the eyes for this mask is a very obvious choice and a very, very good choice. I feel like it complements the zipper mouth very well, and I really like it. It's just a perfect evolution. Not too much change, not too much growth. It sticks with something that already worked for him, but it was a slight change and a positive change. Now, the one thing that I don't like are the big old Harley tassel dreads that are coming out of the mask. And I think that, honestly, if I had to guess, Foff did this on purpose. It is goofy, it is silly looking, it's weird, it's wild, and that is who he is. He's a troll, he's funny, he's crazy, he's eccentric, and I feel like these big, silly, stupid dreads just kind of complement his on-stage persona and personality, and I think that that's exactly why he did it. So this mask, because of the dreads and because I don't personally like them, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a... Man, I don't know. I'm going to give it a 6 because I think if he just didn't have those on there, this thing would be just about a 9 or a 10. It's pretty fucking good, but the dreads are just a little too silly for me. And when Foff looks evil, he looks evil. He's a really good-looking Slipknot member, and he's a really cool dude on stage, but I just can't get down with the big dreads, especially because that's like already somebody else's thing. Like, Cory will forever be the dread guy, right? So I feel like it's weird to bring the dreads out, especially when Cory is also debuting and wearing another dreaded mask. So I've got to score that one kind of low. But the good news is I'm going to give the eyeless mask, the second mask that Foff is wearing, a 10. This thing is creepy as shit, and it only got creepier. We saw it live. He wore it for one song out in California. He also wore this at Sick New World. I think he's wearing it for eyeless, but I'm not sure. Pretty sure that's what's going on, but don't quote me on that. He comes out in a mask that has no eyes, and it's fucking terrifying. It's really, really cool looking, and we got some promo shots, and I think a live shot from Sick New World where he has like these devil horn things coming out of it, these little attachments that are in like the head air vent holes, and the devil things just take it to a completely new level. Not because it's fucking satanic and sick, dude, it's so edgy, but because this really just gives me like uncomfortable McAllister style photo or Antennas to Hell cover vibes. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very unsettling. It reminds me of like a Silent Hill monster or something. It's very, very cool. I love the eyeless version. I wish that he could wear it more, but there literally are no eyes. I think that there's a really easy way to make this thing fully wearable where he could wear it for an entire show. So Foff, if you want to do that, hit me up. This eyeless version definitely gets a 10. And also, look at this photo. That's like a Tattoo the Earth era photo if I've ever seen one. That is perfect. So for Foff, we've got a 6 and a 10, which, if my math adds up correctly, that's like a fucking, I don't know, what, like a B plus or something? I don't know. Moving on, the next member that we are going to talk about, who just got officially confirmed about an hour before I sat down to record this video, Eloy. Boy, oh boy, do the Brazilians love Eloy. Eloy's mask is a mask. It is interesting. I really don't dislike it. I truly don't dislike this mask. I don't love it, but I don't dislike it. I will say that the live version that we've seen is slightly different than the promo version. And when I say slightly, I mean ever so slightly. Literally all that they've done is remove the zipper, and it makes sense because how else is the dude supposed to breathe or drink on stage? Hydration and breathing are very important so that you don't, like, I don't know, die. But I will say the promo version with the zipper still intact is a much, much cooler look. It's crazy what a zipper can do for a mask. We've talked about that in this video with Clown's mask. I think that the zipper version of his mask is just leaps and bounds above the live version. And we talked about it in this video with Jim's mask. I actually didn't give Jim a perfect score because I would still love to see zippers used in his mask. And I think that the zipper on Eloy's mask was like the full-on yes or no turning point saving grace for his mask. The mask definitely does have a nice Slipknot feel. I like that it's simple. I like that it's subtle. I like that there's not a whole lot going on it. And I do like that there was a zipper involved at one point, and even though the zipper is gone now, it's still there in some of these photos, which is super cool. I will say, like, the bullet hole is certainly an idea, but with no sort of blood or anything around it, it kind of just looks like a fucking open butthole on his head, and I say that with all love. But it is what it is. I would love to see, like, some sort of old school Slipknot evolution with weathering and face paint and wear and tear on this mask, and I think that a good opportunity is for every show before they go out, they could add new blood coming out of this bullet hole. So just imagine every show he's adding a little bit more theatrical blood to this bullet hole so that it's drying and running and getting wet and gross with his sweat and the water that he's dumping on himself. And by the end of this tour cycle, we would have a completely changed, weathered mask with a mix of new, old, dry, wet blood coming out of the bullet hole. I think that that would be a super cool thing. And this thing has a lot of possibilities for the old school tribal face paint treatment that Slipknot used to give their masks, and probably still do to this day. I'm probably not thinking of some recent masks that they've done that for, but I do remember Cory and Chris giving their masks the face paint tribal weird design thing over on the Gray Chapter cycle. So yeah, this thing has a lot of possibilities. Right now, I'm going to give it a score of an 8. I think that with the zipper, it's an 8. Without the zipper, we're probably floating closer to a 6.5 or something. But I do think that the mask has a lot of possibilities, so maybe we could score it a little bit higher in the future without the zipper. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, okay? So for right now, Eloy, you're in the clear, bud. Next up, we have yet another new member. We have Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Jeff, again, I don't love or hate this mask. I'm pretty neutral about it. I definitely think it has potential. I definitely think that it's better than the previous keyboard player's mask, who I assume that Zach was in the band for a little bit, and now Jeff is like his full-time replacement. I think Zach was just filling in for those shows, and I think that those days are done and gone, and that's why we don't have a very clear evolution of the mask that we saw being used as Zach was the stand-in on that tour. I do think that this mask is a lot better than that mask, but I would like to see how this one changes. I think that it has a lot of potential, but for right now, it's just there. Giving this mask a 6.5 in the hopes that we see some changes. And you know what? I really do like the idea. I do like the execution. I think that the white mask with the weird kind of broken porcelain-looking scratches that go across the face and the zipper are nice. I just think it's lacking something. So at the moment, Jeff, you get a 6.5 from ya boy. And last but not least, we have Mick. Mick, again, with the if it's not broke, don't fix it. I genuinely would love to see Mick go back to some sort of leather devil style mask like we had in the self-titled and Iowa days, but Mick is Mick and he could beat me up. So you know what, Mick? Do whatever you want. I'm going to give you a 15 for staying true to your thoughts and not changing your shit. Good for you, man. So dudes, that's how I feel about the new Slipknot masks. Keep in mind that these are just my opinions. This is art. This is subjective. You guys don't have to agree or disagree with a goddamn thing on my list, and that's totally fine because we're all people and we all have different tastes, and that's what makes the world go round. I will say I want to leave this video on kind of a positive note and build a little bit off of what I was just saying about the opinions and stuff, because when big Slipknot news like this happens, It brings a lot more attention to my channel, and there are a lot more interactions with people. And I'll tell you, dude, every time some big Slipknot news happens and I start covering it, the weirdos come out to play. And I just want to say, I've already had so many weird negative interactions with people that are just mad for no reason, and I don't get it. Guys, we are living in a real world full of the worst people. We have racists, we have animal abusers, we have thieves, we have rapists, we have child molesters, people who have angry eyes on their Jeep grills, people that don't put their shopping cart back at the store. And it just never ceases to amaze me the amount of hate that some people hold in their heart for me, a dorky dude in Ohio who collects masks and posts about his passions and interests in a somewhat humorous way on YouTube. I am none of those things, and I might not be a great person, but I'm definitely not a bad one, and it's a real weird energy to be so angry at somebody who's literally just sharing their passions with the world and connecting with an audience of people who have similar interests. I am in my namaste era. Shout out to Call to Fire. And I'm not being sarcastic in any way, shape, or form when I say this, but I truly wish the best for everybody out there. I genuinely want the best for all of you. Everyone. Get your priorities together, go out and find something that makes you happy, and I promise, the second that you start searching, your life is going to get better almost immediately. Now, with all that being said, let's ride this Slipknot train until it goes off the tracks. I'm excited for the next few months of Slipknot news, and I hope that you guys are as well. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below on the new Slipknot masks. Maybe even go ahead and throw your list down there. I will meet in the comments. Looking forward to reading those, and we can have a genuine general discussion. Until next time, this has been AJ Good here at the House of Masks, telling you to say no to drugs and alcohol, and yes to Slipknot, and we will see you guys in the next one.